the entire cause of entrepreneurship that we are able to reach this stage today, wherein we can very proudly say that we are on the startup map of India. These are all baby steps that we need to take. And you probably might be thinking that being an academic institute which is into teaching undergraduate students, why are we focusing so much on startups? We are all aware of the kind of job opportunities which are there. These job opportunities may be there today, they may not be there tomorrow. What is also, it is not only about the job opportunities which are there, it is also about the mindset of the students. I think from what I read in the newspapers in the past couple of days, it is also that students are now no longer willing, or rather than students, let me say that prospective employees are no longer willing to commit to a 9-to-5 job in a particular organization over an extended period of time. These are people who are very, very confident of the skills that they have, and they are hungry to learn more skills. So this is the, this generation we more or less call as the gig generation. That means they will take up a job as long as it interests them, as long as it is in line with their beliefs, and as long, of course, as long as it gives them a little bit of monetary satisfaction. But the moment they get fed up, they are going to move on to something else. And this current generation is also very, very clear about the kind of skills that it wants to learn. For example, if we look at our own students, when we tried to get the students on campus, there was a lot of resistance from the students of the final year. And one of the reasons, so, some of us may say that they have gotten very used to the coziness of being at home and all their needs being taken care of. That is only part of the story. A more important part of the story is that many of these students are doing internships. Some of them are also doing full-time jobs. So they are not looking at coming to the campus, because this is going to disrupt what they are doing right now. And probably they are all enjoying learning something different. They are also enjoying earning some money. And I think slowly what is also happening is that based on the situation which is existing in the market today, which is existing in the industry today, the relevance of classroom teaching is also going down. I think we all need to be very, very clear about it, that the relevance is going down, and we are always two steps behind the industry. That has been the case historically, at least as far as Indian education system is concerned. So since we are 2 steps behind, the students move ahead of us, and a lot of what we teach them tends to become redundant. So there is a necessity for us to engage them in other ways as well. And one area which we have found has a lot of generates a lot of interest amongst the students is the entire idea of being an entrepreneur, is the entire idea of being an innovator, of doing something on your own. Now, it is quite possible that many of the things that the children tend to do in the entrepreneurial space may not be core technology. But I think that's also about several startups. There are many startups which have been started by people who are technocrats, but they have gone into other kind of startups. So the purpose of this entire FDP is to share with all of you what are we doing in the startup space, and why it is important for faculty also to be a part of this, because COVID was one threat that we all faced. A gap year was another threat that we faced. We really do not know what is in store for us. So even as far as educational institutions are concerned and our jobs as teachers are concerned, it is going to be very fluid in the future. It is going to be very flexible. It is going to be a lot loosely defined, or let me also say that undefined. So telling ourselves that, we are 35, 40 years of age and we still have another 20 years. So we do have a steady income and a steady job. I think let us not be in that state of mind at all, because that may exist, that may not exist. Everything is going to be dictated by how the market responds to everything, how the market is responding to the requirements of climate change, how the market is responding to the policies which are laid down by the government. So all these are going to be parameters, and you all would know that we do not have control over many of these. So it is important for us to equip ourselves with skills and also with a mindset that we need to have alternate sources of income. We need to have alternate venues of engagement. And I think there can be nothing better than an environment which is within the campus, which also permits you to have small groups of entrepreneurs working on an idea. And you are all educated people with very good knowledge as far as your subject is concerned. If women in the jhopadpattis, men and women in the jhopadpattis can come together and start self-help groups and become entrepreneurs, why should we be very reticent about it, and why should we tend to ignore this avenue for becoming self-reliant, for also having added sources of income for us? Because we really do not know whether the income that we get from this profession is going to last us for a lifetime. So therefore, the institute is very well aware of the fact that entrepreneurship is the way forward. That is why we created a very important position of Dean of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And today we have requested Dr. Pradeep to share with all of us. I'm probably aware of these things which are happening, but it is important for all of us to understand what are the policies which are in place, because let us also understand that it is as far as a faculty is concerned, the faculty has to stop becoming only consumers of information. You need to use this information to create something different. Otherwise, we are all consuming information. We are consuming information about NAC and that we need to do this, NBA, we need to do that. I think this is one area where we will be able to step out on our own and really start working in a field which will probably bring us a lot of benefits. I think benefits in terms of our own ability to handle a project, or our own ability to handle a business. And in addition to that, it is also going to give us a lot of confidence. And overall, it is also going to give us a lot of monetary benefit. Yeah, so without much ado, I would like to request Dr. Pradeep to take charge and take forward this session.
Well, thank you, madam. Good morning to all. Before we actually start the presentation, can we start your videos so that I can take screenshots? We'll not spend much time.
Yes, I think it is important, because the screenshots are things which we need to upload in the various portals that we are now and various accreditations we are now participating on account of all these accreditations are devoted to innovation. So I would request everyone to turn on their videos, even if you're unpresentable, maybe just take a bedsheet over your head. Okay. Smile into the camera. Yeah, please, I can see many people are still not turning on their videos. Dr. Ramya, Anagha, Aparna, Buddhipriya Chavan, Bharat, Kleta, Dr. Pradeep, even your video is not on.
Yeah, that is because of some technical issue. Yeah, that is there.
Achha, okay. Yeah, please turn on your videos. Yeah. Are we ready? Have you taken? Tell us when you have taken a picture.
Yeah, I'll just tell you when I'm done with that. Okay, thank you all. So let me
Thank
share the
you.
screen.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, once again, good morning to all. Though we are meeting through virtual platform, I am thrilled, and it's my great honor and pleasure to be with all of you this morning. Let me take this opportunity to thank our principal madam and management for organizing this FDP on orientation of DBIT innovation and startup policy and DBIT initiatives for innovation and entrepreneurship. So once again, I welcome all of you for this presentation, and stay tuned for next 3,600 seconds or so, and be attentive because there are surprises, prizes, goodies and chocolates to take away. Okay, so my presentation has 6 sections. Don't worry about it. We will try to finish off within an hour or so. So first section will be about what is innovation, entrepreneurship, and its vocabulary. This may be known to all of you. Yes, it will be like sort of repetition to many of you. Then I will talk about what is the relevance of I and E, that is innovation and entrepreneurship for DBIT, and what is the current Indian scenario in this sector. I will talk about objectives, functions, and responsibilities of Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Then I will rush you through DBIT initiatives for I and E. I will spend a considerable amount of time on NISP and DBIT innovation and startup policy. Okay, that is the focus area for today's presentation, and we will end with some sort of fun activity. Yeah. So let me introduce you to something called as invention cycle. Okay, it starts with imagination, wherein we envision what doesn't exist, and it requires engagement and ability to envision alternatives. Then we have something called as creativity, wherein we apply imagination to address a challenge, and it requires motivation and experimentation. Then we have innovation, wherein we apply creativity to develop unique ideas, wherein we require focusing and reframing. And finally, we have entrepreneurship, wherein we apply innovation to bring ideas to fruition, and we require persistence and ability to inspire others in our entrepreneurial endeavor. Let me throw some more light on what is innovation and entrepreneurship. Many times, many people consider innovation and entrepreneurship as interchangeable words, but they are different. Innovation requires scientific skills, whereas entrepreneurship requires marketing as well as business skills. Typically, entrepreneurship is about taking huge risks in building a new business and generating huge amount of wealth. Okay, so just for an example, all of you know Steve Jobs, who is founder of Apple. But do you know who is co-founder of Apple? Can anybody just tell me?
It is Bill Gates.
No, that is not correct answer. Can somebody else try? Who is the co-founder of Apple along with Steve Jobs?
Wozniak.
Yep, that is correct.
Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. So this was answer given by Professor Shajal Mani. Yeah.
Yes,
Steve
sir.
Wozniak. Yeah. Okay, I'll just note down that. Steve Wozniak is the co-founder of Apple, and actually, if you look at typical characteristics of Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, they are typical innovators and entrepreneurs. Steve Wozniak is innovator, whereas Steve Jobs is entrepreneur. If you see all promotional events, there is Steve Jobs, and the credit for developing so many things are by Apple, including iPhone, is given to Steve Jobs. But actually, all technical stuff and real technocrat is Steve Wozniak. Okay, so Steve Wozniak is actually innovation. He is innovator, whereas Steve Jobs comes to entrepreneur. Yeah. Anyways, next is that I will just display one photograph here. Please answer who is that personality. Yeah, can somebody answer who is this personality? I think it may be difficult, but still. Anybody?
baghdadi जैसा लगता है.
What is that?
Is he a painter, some painter, artist?
Nope.
Socrates और वास्को दा गामा इधर होता.
Nope.
सर हम अपने स्टूडेंट जैसे फास्ट नहीं है, उनको कोई भी
that
क्वेश्चन
is
पूछेंगे तो
fine.
तुरंत गूगल करके देते.
No, but here there is a photo, no, so you cannot do that also. Yeah, I will be very happy if
Marco
somebody.
Polo,
Yep, who's that? Deepali, madam.
Dipali.
Yes, yes, yes. You are going to get a good surprise prize. He is Marco Polo. And what is the specialty of him? He is considered to be first entrepreneur in human history, because and he is from 13th century actually. Okay, and at the age of 17 also, he was able to convince several of Venetian wealthy merchants to fund his expedition to Asia and China. Okay, he was a what to say, wanderer, traveler, and entrepreneur. He frequented the Silk Route of India, and most of the time he spent actually around 20 to 24 years. He was just traveling around from Constantinople to China and back. Okay, and therefore, if you look at our ESL newsletter, it is named after him, Teaching Marco. Okay, moving ahead. Now I will just take you through basic terminologies. Quickly, I will go through this. Difference between entrepreneurship and normal business. Entrepreneurship is about creating a company, about that is what do you say, focused on unique idea or concept with higher risk involved, and there is a more innovative approach to work. Focus is on cooperation and goal is to change the world. Whereas in normal business, a company is started from an existing idea or concept. Calculated or measured risks are taken. It is a traditional approach to work. Focus is on competition and goal is to make profits. Okay, so just to give you overview of this too. What is seed money? Seed money is given to someone to help them start a new project or business. So it is like when you are having some idea and you want to venture into a real world to bring that idea to a product level which is marketable, and for that we need initial capital, that is known as seed money. Where from you can raise this? We can go ask from friends, family. Angel funding, crowdfunding is also there, but nowadays in India, venture capital is also available. I will give you one example of seed money investment. There is a firm, venture capital firm called InfoAge, and what is specialty about this? InfoAge clocked a return of 1,050 times on Zomato investment when Zomato went public, maybe in July 2021. Okay, so initial check by InfoAge to Zomato was of 4.7 crores, and just a day before listing on stock exchange, Mr. Sanju Bhikchandani from InfoAge, he has just tweeted about return multiples of IE, that is InfoAge, on the first check of 4.7 crore. Okay, so he has given a table wherein if Zomato share price lists between 76 to 152, anywhere in between, the implied valuation of Zomato would be around this. These numbers are in crores. And what is the InfoAge's return multiple? 633 to 1267 times. Okay, so on 24th of July, Zomato listed with around 115 rupees per share, and closed around 126 rupees. So that day, this particular check of 4.7 crores rose by 1050 times. So approximately you can say 5 crore became approximately 5,000 crores in just 11 years. Yeah, and if you look at today's situation, Zomato is around 153 or so, and till today, Info Edge has around 15% of stakes, and their valuation is around 18,000 crore. So in last 3-4 months, it has increased from 15,000 crores to 18,000 crores, 3,000 crores in 3 months. Yeah, so that is the beauty of startup and entrepreneurship. And then there is something called as Unicorn. Unicorn is a startup which enters into a club of $1 billion US, which is equivalent to 7,000 crores in Indian rupees. And if you check the current status of India, there are 35 unicorns in last 11 months from India. 35 unicorns in COVID situation. Well, networking is an important aspect of entrepreneurship. It is about exchanging information and ideas with people to develop professional relationships. How do you do that? We go for online communities, conferences, hackathons, makeathons, or some boot camps. Startup Incubator is a company that helps entrepreneurs to develop their business ideas. So incubator is like I would like to give a biological term to this. Typically, it has come from there. Okay, it's like an infant baby is there, and that baby is not able to sustain on its own. So they are put into an incubator so that they can come through their difficulties. So startup incubator is similar to that. A startup which is like a baby is put into this incubator, and all possible help is given to them so that the baby grows and becomes unicorn. Pitch deck, it is a short presentation that gives an audience a quick overview of business plan. Okay, this is very important aspect of startup and entrepreneurship, because within first 3 minutes or so, the investors decide whether to invest on this particular idea or not. And typically, investors doesn't invest on the idea. Most of the time, they look at the team and what are the credentials of you, what are your what is the character of the entrepreneur. That is more important in initial stages of investment, seed funding, and what is it, pre-venture capital funding. Due diligence is the evaluation an investor performs in order to decide whether they want to invest in a new opportunity. Okay, and this is a very rigorous exercise. They will ask you to go through balance sheets and what is it, predicted or proposed revenue generation and proof of concepts. But once you are through this, then you can raise very good amount of money and you can start your own business. Well, I am done with the initial part, initial section of the presentation. Now here there is a question for all of you. Once again, I will just post the question. Someone who would like to become an entrepreneur and thinks and talks about being so, but never gets started is known as, can somebody complete this? Fill in the blank.
Is known as a coward.
No, but that is not the right answer, ma'am.
Sorry.
No,
yes, even I am a coward in that sense.
But there is a better term to that. Can anybody try? It's an interesting term actually.
Ideator or something.
No.
अरे इसको तो गूगल कर सकते हैं ना.
Consultant.
No.
Plant.
No. Interesting answers, but shall I go ahead with the answer, or you would like to take...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they are known as entrepreneurs. Okay,
Oh,
somebody who wants to
okay.
be entrepreneur is known as entrepreneur. Okay. So I will take you to now important aspect as far as our institute is concerned, relevance of INE to DBIT and what is the current Indian scenario. We have 4 to 5 institutes on our campus, and we are home to 3,000 students and faculty across these institutes, and that itself is a sufficient reason to start with INE. Looking at DBIT, we aim to impart premium technology education to youth to equip them with the relevant competencies needed by a spectrum of industrial sectors. We believe that every engineer must contribute towards deriving sustainable solutions that can solve the industrial as well as societal problems. The creative and innovative ideas are often generated at educational level by the enthusiastic and creative minds, which may lead to startups. Now, these 3 statements are derived from the vision and mission of our institute, and through the meaningful discussions with our principal madam, Dr. Prasanna Nambiar, and our advisor, Dr. Krishnamurthy. And there is a great investor from Mumbai city itself, Mr. Uday. I forgot his surname. I will let you know once I recollect that. According to him, startup and entrepreneurship activities have gained momentum in India in last 10 years. And therefore, you can see there are many VC firms, venture capitalists in India. Before that, they were not there. Okay, and the next 10 years are going to be golden period for this particular activity. It is going to witness exponential and explosive growth. So we need to take advantage of this. And therefore, in line with this, it is important for us to start Don Bosco Incubation Center, and we call it as Eudaimonia. We will talk about what is Eudaimonia sometime later. Okay, so before we go for what is the current Indian scenario as far as INE is concerned, let me just explain to you what is the relation between innovation, entrepreneurship, and accreditation, because accreditation is one of the important aspects as far as educational institute is concerned. In November 2006, the 3rd International Barcelona Conference on Higher Education was held with a focus on accreditation. And what was the important theme that emerged in presentation and discussions? The need for accreditation systems that promote innovation in higher education. Researchers Singhal and Martin pointed out that accreditation systems may in fact stand in the way of innovation. Researchers Von Winkel and Dias appealed for approaches in quality assessment and accreditations which honor diversity and promote innovation and creativity in higher education. Further, they observed, and this is very important, that quality in higher education cannot be seen as conformity to a standard, as higher education is supposed to promote creativity and innovation. So what is the solution to this? Solution they have proposed is that we need to be more, we in the sense, the accreditation systems need to be more open, and they should adopt fitness for purpose concept of accreditation. And what is the meaning of this fitness for purpose concept of accreditation? It checks whether the higher education institution or program is achieving its stated purpose and verifies whether that purpose is acceptable. The accreditation decision focus on the particulars of each organization rather than on trying to make it fit a pre-established mold. Okay, so that should be the focus. Excuse me. In the United States, ABET, that is accreditation body for engineering and technology, moved from a standard-based approach to a fitness for purpose-based approach to accreditation in 1996. And generally what US follows, it is Washington Accord, we follow. Yeah. So Indian government is systematically pushing accreditation bodies towards fit for purpose concept of accreditation. And this is very indirect nowadays. Look at the NIRF ranking and its parameters. Look at the Startup India program. Look at the new creation of or the promotion of startups. And startup has become a buzzword in today's Indian scenario. India is the first country to launch ranking of HEIs, that is higher educational institutes, on innovation achievements, that is called as Atal ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievements, ARIA. So I was actually, thanks to Principal Madam, I was a witness to this launch program in AICT Delhi in 2018 January. Okay, so let me take you first of all through what are the parameters of this ARIA ranking. Okay, so there are 9 parameters, and this ARIA ranking distinguishes between non-technical and technical HEIs. We are concerned about the last column here. 100 points are given to each institute on the basis of these parameters and sub-parameters in all these 9 points. So first point is about developing an innovative and entrepreneurial mindset through series of activities. Teaching and learning, academic programs related to innovation and entrepreneurship, and IPR offered by the HEI. Dedicated infrastructure, this is a very important aspect, it carries 13 points. And facilities to promote innovation and entrepreneurship at HEI. Generation of innovations or ideas with support of HEI and recognition received. Ventures established with the support of HEI and recognitions received. Angel and VC funds. Okay, angel funding is like there are some high net worth individuals and they invest in early startups. They are called as angel investors. Venture capitals, investment mobilized to support innovation and startups incubated at HEI. Promotion of collaboration for and co-creation of I&E activities or initiatives. Intellectual property generation and commercialization. Annual budget on promoting and supporting I&E activities. So what is the total expenses on these activities by HEI? Total revenue generated by HEI from incubation services to startups and commercialization of IP and innovations. And finally, the point number 9 is about participation of HEI in I&E initiatives of MOE, that is Ministry of Education, Government of India. So if you look at all these points, we are doing few activities which are sufficient enough as far as point number 1 is concerned. Orientation and mindset and inspirational, motivational talks and all those things. To some extent, we have started about training programs. If you remember, there was ABCDE, anybody can do entrepreneurship program. We have started, and we can actually take care of this training and training program through minors if possible. But point number 3 to 8, almost we have nothing to show actually, and it's a huge scope for the complete institute and campus itself to endeavor to achieve on these points. Okay, point number 9, we are participating in I&E initiatives of MOE regularly in SIH, that is Smart India Hackathon. In ARIA, we have been participating since its inception. We have formulated or constituted institutions innovation council. We are actually implementing NISP policies. So we are doing these things. But point number 3 to point number 8, we need to take care of. And if we are able to do this, automatically all other requirements for accreditation of whether it is NAAC, NBA, or NIRF ranking or any other kind of ranking, it will be automatically taken care of. So this is very important aspect, and we need to seriously look at this. Let me just take you through what is the Global Innovation Index. Okay, so this is promoted by WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Organization, and since last 11 years, Switzerland is the #1 economy in as far as innovation index is concerned. China is this year China is at 12th position. Where is India in this? We are at 46th position, but still it is a great achievement for us because 2 to 3 years back we were at 75th or 76th position in this ranking. Okay, as far as economies by region is concerned, we are top economy in our region, Central and Southern Asia. Okay, India is #1 economy in that as far as innovation index is concerned. Okay, something to be proud about. Well, I will take you through objectives, functions, and responsibilities of Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. These are I have enlisted here the objectives. The basic mission of Office for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is to support and initiate innovative and entrepreneurial behavior among faculty and students, to develop sound startup ecosystem. This itself is a big objective actually. To conduct events and inspirational programs to promote startup and entrepreneurship, to collaborate and network with academia, industry, funding sources, existing incubators and others for these startups to leverage, to nurture and promote innovative startups to scale and help entrepreneurs to move forward through the various levels of venture development. Okay, so these are the objectives. What are the specific functions? Okay, so the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship nurtures and encourages technology entrepreneurship across DBCL, encourages and supports faculty-student interactions based on innovative and entrepreneurial principles. This office endeavors to implement NISP on campus, that is National Innovation and Startup Policy by Ministry of Education, promotes and conducts pre-incubation activities on campus. What is pre meaning of pre-incubation? Will be discussed in one of the slides. Ensures participation in ARIA, endeavors to establish Eudaimonia DBSC, that is Don Bosco Incubation Center. Obviously this is an ambitious project and it is subject to management approval. Encourages faculty and students to generate innovative and relevant IP to achieve solutions to pressing world problems. Now I will just rush you through what are the typical DBIT initiatives for I&E. We have DBIT, very active DBIT E-cell. Our students are very active and we conduct host of events throughout the year. I will not spend much time on that. Thanks to Principal Madam, we have Innovation Next software on campus and we actually dedicate 1 practical hour or 1 or 2 practical hours every week for certain semesters on this. Recently we had S-Cube Challenge startup competition. This was conducted by a development engineering course in association with SCI and E-cell of DBIT. DBIT has created new deanship for I&E. That itself is a big statement. Participation in ARIA since inception. So these are the things what we have been doing. Our students have been participating regularly in all installments of SIH, Smart India Hackathon since its inception, and winning prizes also. Yeah, we have launched our flagship program in startup and entrepreneurship, Makeathon, and recently we have taken the 2nd edition of Makeathon to the state level also. We conducted NLAB, that is National Awareness Program, Build the Enterprise of Your Dreams by Ministry of MSME, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. These KVIC people had come to our campus last year. We had actually initiated in collaboration with Navayog Entrepreneurs ABCDE, that is Anybody Can Do Entrepreneurship course, which is about to teach the fundamentals of entrepreneurship from scratch. Okay, so we would like to revive this course or see the alternatives to this. We have been trying collaborations. We had collaboration with Navayog Entrepreneurs for 2 years. We have been in talks with 100x VC. 100x VC is venture capital from Mumbai. If they want to invest in something, they expect returns 100 times within 2 to 3 years time. Okay, therefore it is 100x VC. Obviously they will settle for 20 times, that's fine. Startup also, we have been in touch with Sign and Desai City School of Entrepreneurship from IIT Bombay. We are in touch with VGTI, TBI, SPTBI, and also with Dr. Mandi program from NEETI. Yeah, so and even we are in touch with MAN, Mumbai Angel Network, TAI, that is the Indus Entrepreneurs, TAI Mumbai as well as Pune chapter. Now I will take you through what is NISP and what is the DBIT Innovation and Startup Policy on the lines of NISP. Okay, so National Innovation and Startup Policy 2019 for students and faculty of HEI was launched by Honorable Minister for Human Resource Development on 11 September 2019. The policy intends to guide HEIs to promote students and faculty-driven innovations and startups. And this is going to be important document in order to leverage the potential of students' problem-solving and entrepreneurial mindset and promoting a strong intra and inter-institutional partnerships. So these are the thrust areas of NISP. I will not take you through this. You can just refer to NISP policy. I have just taken the titles of that NISP policy. It is uploaded on our website also. I will just take you through this major features of NISP. Okay, so one of the important aspect of NISP is that it talks about how to create innovation fund for supporting innovative projects and startups by allocating at institute level. So they say you can start with allocating the minimum 1% of institution's total budget. Yeah, then policy supports academic break for a semester or a year to work on their startups, both for students as well as faculty. And credits for working on innovative prototype or business models are given. 2 to 9.5% equity or stakes in startup or company by institute's incubator. The 9% cap is kept. I will explain about that. Complete ownership of IPR by inventors in case of non-usage of institute's facilities and resources. Services to be offered by institution in lieu of equity. Any question is there? Jonas, sir, can you please unmute yourself? Yeah, okay, fine. Services to be offered by institution in lieu of equity, fee-based or zero payment models. Okay, so these are the guidelines by NISP. Okay, so at DBIT last year when I proposed to adopt NISP as it is on our campus, our executive director, Father Mario, set up a committee of 3 members, myself, Dr. Krishnamurthy, and Mr. Richard D'Souza, who is CEO of MIB, that is Mahindra Integrated Businesses, to look at its implementation issues and how can we go ahead with the NISP policy. Okay. Yeah, so Junior sir, actually there is a disturbance from your side. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, so in line with that and recommendation of the 3-member committee, this year our principal madam set up one committee to draft the innovation, DBIT innovation and startup policy. The committee members and have shown here. This committee was very enthusiastic about drafting this policy. Drafting a policy is actually a tedious job, but all the members participated wholeheartedly, enthusiastically, and it was kind of fun actually to be. It was kind of fun activity for us because of the enthusiasm of the members. Yeah, so we deliberated on all aspects of NISP, and as a result, we are presenting to you this DBIT innovation and startup policy. It is already circulated to all of you. It is on our website. Okay, you can go through all final details of that. I will just take you through important aspects. So the policy and procedures are applicable for operational matters related to pre-incubation of proposed Don Bosco Incubation Center. Now it is applicable to DBIC supported entities like startup teams or companies and individual teams which are coming under this particular programs, under pre-incubation program, under physical and virtual incubation, this is proposed, under seed programs of DBIC and co-working space without formal incubation support. Okay. Our vision is to become a vibrant startup hub that promotes entrepreneurial culture amongst youth. Our mission is to develop incubation facilities and provide a conducive ecosystem for faculty and students to start up, to conduct events, informative sessions, and motivational programs to help aspiring startups, to collaborate and network with academia, industry, funding agencies, existing incubators, and other benefactors to support these startups. What is the procedure for student startups? I will not completely take you through this, but we are proposing that final year projects with innovative ideas could be developed into a minimal viable product. Minimal viable product is a ready to launch to market product actually. Okay, so we have innovation, Innovex as our project exhibition, and the next level to that is going to be MVP level products. Okay, and also university has also launched the minor or mini projects, and we have suggested that we can take these through these mini projects we can implement something like something called as capstone project, wherein you have a time of 2 to 3 years span, and you can take and develop your project within that time, just by the time of 7th semester. Yeah, so that is proposed. There are 2 categories of eligibility to be a part of this program. Number 1 is somebody can actually become qualified for pre-incubation support, and once they are through that, they would be in a position to go for actual startup company. Nurturing innovation and startups, I will spend more time on this. Okay, so there are proposed incubation support is there, going to be there. That is, again, as I mentioned, it is going to be it is an ambitious project, but as of now we are doing many of the pre-incubation activities. The students as well as faculty members will be permitted for licensing IPR from institute to startup, permission for setting up a startup, and working part-time for the startup while studying or working is also considered here. Yeah, so I will not take you through these statements. You can just go through the policy. Student entrepreneurs would be allowed to sit for the examination, even if their attendance is less than minimum permissible percentage, but obviously with the permission from the institute. DBIT will permit its students to take a semester or year break, or even more depending upon review committee's recommendations, to work on their startup and rejoin academics to complete the course. Similar facilities available to faculty and staff also. They can take off for a semester or year as unpaid leave, casual leave, or earned leave. Okay, for working on startups and come back. Okay, just to promote initially, I think management will consider to give earned leaves, but again, that depends on what kind of startup you are coming up with. So committee will take care of these things. The seniority and other academic benefits during such period may be preserved for such staff or faculty. In return of the services and facilities, DBIT will take 2 to 9.5% equity, as I mentioned while explaining NISP. Why this cap of 9.5% is kept? That is just to ensure that liability doesn't come to the institute in case startup fails. Okay. For staff and faculty, DBIT will take no more than 20% of the shares that staff or faculty takes while drawing full salary from the institution. However, this share will be within the 9.5% cap of company shares listed above. So there are 2 conditions, but 9.5% cap will supersede everything. No restriction on shares that faculty or staff can take, as long as they do not spend more than 20% of the office time on the startup. Obviously, who will take care of these things? How to decide upon 20% of office time, and the review committee will take care of all those things. In case the faculty or staff holds the executive or managerial position for more than 3 months in a startup, then they will go on sabbatical or leave without pay or on leave. Okay, so again, some consideration will be given here if really somebody is coming up with startups. Okay, so institute would also provide services based on mixture of equity, fee-based, or zero payment model. Again, all these things are proposed if there is a startup is there actually. DBIT will consider faculty participation in entrepreneurship related activities as legitimate activity of faculty in addition to teaching, R&D projects, industrial consultancy, and management duties. It will be considered while evaluating the annual performance of the faculty, and every faculty would be encouraged to mentor at least 1 startup. Product development and commercialization, as well as participating and nurturing of startups, would now be added to bucket of faculty duties, and each faculty would choose a mix and match of these activities. And this is in addition to minimum required teaching and guidance. Yeah. So what is the pre-incubation facility? Okay, so in this particular phase, we can prepare the students entrepreneurs for incubation phase by providing them prerequisite skills and knowledge that will keep them, or that will help them validate and assess their ideas as well as define their business model in detail. And once they are through this, so what are the things we can take care of during pre-incubation phase? The activities such as identification of problems, idea generation, collection and screening of ideas, excuse me, business plan preparation, prototype development and testing. So all those things would come as part and parcel of pre-incubation phase. Okay, and finally, once these things are performed, a student or faculty startup is finally registered and incubated. This incubation could be at proposed DBIT incubation center or into a startup incubation or co-working space program of any TBI, Technology Business Incubator, approved by the Government of India. That is allowed. I will just take you through related to IP, how we are going to evaluate what is the intellectual property. So we are proposing one team, Intellectual Property Committee, IPC, to evaluate the IP. What is the IP generated by the involved parties? Okay, and IPC will help various departments to secure protection for intellectual property and will review infringements, maintain central databases and files of patent applications. Okay, so all those things are in near future if it happens, all those things. Yeah, so as of now we don't have these things. How royalty income will be shared? First of all, if IP from DBIT is considered for startup, then first of all costs of DBIT related to IP shall be recaptured. And once this is done, whatever the revenue or income remains, so that remainder of such income shall be divided as per this following table. Okay, so if it is, this remainder income is between 1 to 1 lakh rupees, 65% will go to the inventor, 15% will go to the department of the inventor, and 20% will go to the DBIT. For 1 lakh to 5 lakh rupees, the proportions are 60%, 15%, and 25%. And above 5 lakh rupees, the proportions are 50%, 20%, and 30%. Who is going to have the ownership rights for technologies developed at the institute? Okay, so there are some guidelines here. Wait a minute. So when DBIT facilities or funds are used substantially, or when IPR is developed as a part of curriculum or academic activity, IPR is to be jointly owned by inventors and DBIT. On the other hand, if the product or IPR is developed by innovators, not using any DBIT facilities and outside office hours, this is applicable for staff and faculty, or not as part of curriculum by the students, then the product or IPR will be entirely owned by inventors in proportion to the contributions made by them. Okay. In order to have organization capacity, HR and incentives, what are we doing? DBIT will appoint personnel with strong innovation and entrepreneurial experience to foster the I&E culture. Faculty and staff are encouraged to do courses on innovation, entrepreneurship management, and venture development. Periodically, some external subject matter experts, such as the guest lecturers or alumni, will be engaged for strategic advice and bringing in skills which are not available internally. And in order to attract and retain right people, Institute would develop academic and non-academic incentives and reward mechanisms for all staff and stakeholders that actively contribute and support entrepreneurship agenda and activities. Next one is about creating innovation pipeline and pathways. Okay, how are we going to do this? To ensure exposure of maximum students to innovation and pre-incubation activities at their early stage, and to support the pathways from ideation to innovation to market, mechanisms have been devised at DBIT. I can refer to the policy for this. DBIT would link its startups and companies with wider entrepreneurial ecosystem, and by providing support to the students who show potential in pre-startup phase. DBIT has established institutions Innovation Council as per the guidelines of MOE's Innovation Cell. DBIT IIC, that is Institutions Innovation Council, would guide departments in conducting various activities relating to innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship development. Okay, so this is the certificate of IIC as per the norms of Innovation Cell, Ministry of Education, Government of India. We have established IIC at our campus. And just to emphasize efforts of the people, I would like to thank Dr. Ashwini Kotra Shetty for giving her inputs as far as the industry and nearby incubation centers representation is concerned on this IIC. Obviously, a lot of support is there from Principal Madam also. So I'm towards the end of my presentation. This is going to be a fun activity. Again, I will display some photographs. There might be known personalities, unknown personalities. You are just required to unmute yourself and tell me who these entrepreneurs are. Okay, so here we go. Can somebody just unmute and tell about this?
Elon Musk.
Yeah. So it's very simple.
Elon Musk and Mark
Elon Musk
Zuckerberg.
and Mark
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 Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. Yeah. So I will just take you through the statement. Elon Musk doesn't believe the NASA's statement. Failure is not an option. No, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. According to Zuckerberg, entrepreneurship is about creating change, not just companies. So here, I think Principal Madam gave this answer, and who else was there? Can you just tell who mentioned the names? This is for the the takeaways, chocolates and prizes. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Can you please name, because I'm not able to see the this thing, the participant list now.
Aruna.
Yeah. Okay, Aruna.
Aruna from IT.
Okay. Okay. I will go to the next slide. Can you name them? There are two more interesting entrepreneurs.
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson is one, Principal Madam, and who else was there?
It is John.
Okay,
John.
Yeah. And who
John,
is the next one? This may be difficult. Yeah, I'll just write the names as and when it happens, so it will be counted accordingly. Don't worry about that. Yeah, who is the next one here? Who is this guy? This is one of the famous American entrepreneurs, and he was CEO of
Henry
IBM.
Ford.
Nope.
IBM.
He was CEO of IBM. Thomas Watson.
Thomas Watson.
Yeah, Thomas Watson. Okay, so he says if you want to succeed, double your failure rate. And according to Branson, fun is one of the most important and rather underrated ingredients in any successful venture. If you are not having fun, then it's probably time to call it quits and try something else. Okay, we'll move on to this. This is simple as well as difficult. Can you name this guy?
MK Gandhi.
No, Gandhi is not an entrepreneur. There are similarities.
But he looks like him.
Yeah. He is one of the greatest innovators of all time.
Nikola Tesla, sir.
Yes, Nikola Tesla. Who is this? Can you just name yourself?
Sachin Sugave.
Yeah,
Sugave.
Sachin, yeah. Thank you, sir. Nikola Tesla says, I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. So such an arrogance or confidence statement, you can say. Can you name this? You may not be able to. But I will be happy if somebody names this lady. She was one of the famous entrepreneurs from UK in 80s and 90s. And she donated all her wealth of around 51 or somewhere that 51 million UK pounds, sterling pounds at the time of death. Okay, she is Anita Roddick, and very eccentric. the statement itself is important. If you think you are too small to have an impact, try going to bed with a mosquito. Okay, so this is last slide. Can you name who is this guy? One of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time. Come on, guys, you must know this. At least those who are from mechanical.
Henry Ford.
Yeah, Henry Ford. Who is this? Ma'am.
Is it Henry Ford?
Yeah, he is Henry Ford. Oh, so principal madam and Dipti madam, right?
DT.
Acha. Okay. Thank you, madam. Yeah, so Henry Ford revolutionized automobile industry, and he is considered as father of mass production. All of you know, V engine, and he was very specific about getting things done. While that V engine was happening, all his engineers were against it, but he put his foot down and got it done actually. Well, this is a very famous statement by him. Coming together is the beginning, keeping together is the progress, and working together is the success. And this is what our principal madam also emphasizes all the time. Ask all the teams to collaborate, all the departments to collaborate within and between. And on this line, I invite all of you, all the faculty members as well as supporting staff of DBIT to come forward, jump on this bandwagon of I&E initiatives, get along, come with certain initiatives. Yeah, so with your involved participation, I'm just repeating that statement, with your involved participation and strong support from the management, I am confident that the Office of Dean for Innovation and Entrepreneurship has the ability and capabilities to put DBIT, and not only DBIT, the whole campus, to put on a trajectory of exponential and explosive growth. With this, I would like to sign off. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yeah, so if there are no questions, we can take few questions. Otherwise, ma'am, we can go to next presentation if it is there.
Now, I think there should be questions. I'm sure people would have questions to ask, because if there are no questions, then I'm wondering, whether our people are going to get into entrepreneurship.
So guys, feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, sir, Shri Prasad here.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering, just a curiosity, the famous names which were taken in your presentation, why there was no Indian entrepreneur?
I just wanted it from you to come it up. Okay. Yeah. So actually, see, there are many entrepreneurs, and I wanted to just cut short my presentation. Otherwise, it would go. That list is never ending, no? But there is nothing. Discrimination is not there. In India, we have famous entrepreneurs. I think I gave you example of Zomato. Zomato is an Indian startup which have become unicorn, and now it is IPO. It's a big public company, around 1 lakh crores valuation, more than that. Okay, Bini Bansal brothers, you can say. Yeah, Sabir Bhatia or Samir Bhatia. Ma'am, ma'am still uses the Hotmail. He was one of the entrepreneurs from India in 90s. Kunal Shah is there. Yeah, there are many women entrepreneurs.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, there is nothing like that. I just yeah.
Suryavanshi sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for a very nice presentation.
Thank you.
I just have one question. With regards to patent, you said that the rights will be shared between the institute and the inventor. So will the expenses towards the patent also be shared? Because when we have the institute name, included for filing the patent, the expense is 4 times as that of an individual, as that of what it would be for a individual. So
yeah, so in that regard, actually, madam, as I mentioned, there will be IPC committee, that is the Intellectual Property Committee. They will take a call on by looking at all aspects of that, whether to file it as institute or individual patent. Okay, and then there will be an understanding between inventors and institute. These are general guidelines, obviously. And as you rightly said, when the institute is going to file the patent, it is way costly. So that committee will take a call as and when it happens. I hope I have answered your question.
So, Dr. Pradeep, what I would like to add is something like this, that hello, that let us at the moment, let us not get involved, and this goes to Dr. Ashwini also. Let us not get too involved in what the policies etc. are, because I think these policies are never going to be a deterrent. There is every likelihood that we might ease the policies even more, so that the faculty gets a lot more support. What Dr. Pradeep has presented today is basically the policies which have been laid down by NISP, which we have taken up as it is, so that we don't reinvent the wheel and we don't break our heads over it. So these policies will definitely be made as faculty friendly as possible.
Yeah, that is there. And this policy will keep on, updating also. And this particular policy is actually created so that a faculty member could work on a business plan, or they can venture onto entrepreneurial journey while working in institute as a having the teacher's job. Okay, so there was a difficulty before that, no? If you have a certain job, then you cannot do something else. That was the difficulty. So to do away with that, these policies have been promoted by the government, and we are adopting that. And obviously, as ma'am said, initially, institute has to be quite liberal and supportive if really we want to nurture startups.
Yeah, so Dr. Pradeep, again, as Ashwini said, thank you for a very interesting presentation. I think you were able to keep faculty engaged and entertained through all the quizzes that you had. So that's something that we many of us would learn to implement in our presentations. I have something to talk to the faculty. See, what I want to tell all of you is that we are all taking baby steps towards entrepreneurship. And one thing that we need to understand is that there is no age limit for entrepreneurship. In fact, now I am looking at becoming an entrepreneur, and I'm already working on a project with, on an activity with my students who had worked on a project with me last year. So we are trying to take that project forward and see whether we can patent it. And we have also spoken to a couple of people who have shown a lot of interest in our idea. So first of all, there is no age limit. Number two is that there is no limit in terms of what your ideas should be. So at some point in time, if you get an idea, I don't think you should wait for somebody to be judgmental about your idea. You believe it's a good initiative that you want to take, I think you must just go ahead and take it up. Should it be high-end technology? No, not at all. Because problems of the world are not solved by high technology, high-end technology. Sometimes world's problems are solved by the simplest of ideas. So it is important for us to start getting into understanding, what these simple ideas are. And let us also believe that as far as ideation is concerned, as far as startups are concerned, there is no definition of what the size should be. Do you need to become a unicorn? No. You can also be doing something side by side with the work in a manner in which you are able to manage your time between both these things very well. So the options are all there with us. What we are trying to do in DBIT is only try and create a support system so that all these ideas can be nurtured. Is it necessary that you need to do it only with the students of DBIT and only with the faculty of DBIT? No, not necessary. You may want to do it with your friends outside DBIT. You may want to do it with your neighbors. You may want to do it with few other people. We are willing to welcome all these as long as, one of the persons who is doing it is from DBIT. It could be an alumnus also. We may want to do it with with our alumni. So all these things can be taken into consideration. Yes, Bharat, you have a question to ask.
Yeah, hi, Suryavanshi sir and madam. Good morning, everyone. My question is, like, I had visited Sine IIT once. So at that time, they also told us that if there are no ideas, they basically give orientation, and they give certain problem statements where we can work upon. So will there be any such kind of activity also from our end?
Yeah, actually, Bharat sir, if you look at our kind of hackathons, like typically hackathon, in that we typically promote some problem statements. Okay, and I think 1 or 2 years back, I had sent a mail with 3-4 problem statements, which could have been taken by DBIT faculty. So we are open to that also.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I think no more questions are there, it appears. But guys, remember, in field of entrepreneurship, nobody knows anything actually. That is a statement from Netflix founder. When he actually wanted to come up with Netflix. Yeah, so he actually spoke about that idea with his spouse, and she was, what kind of rubbish idea is this? Okay, then he talked about, and he that time he had already 4 or 5 startups before Netflix. So he is a serial entrepreneur. So he spoke to his other friends who are also entrepreneurs. Everybody ridiculed that idea of coming up with Netflix platform. But now you see Netflix where it is now today. So sometimes you need to be very, you need to pursue the idea, and just don't sit on the idea, bring into action. Action is very important here. Many of us have very interesting ideas, but we don't actually bring these things into reality. And that is the difficulty. And the activities of Office of Dean for Innovation and Entrepreneurship will come into picture as soon as you come to us for these supports. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you for patient listening.
Okay, so one of the reasons why we also had this presentation is because I think it is important for faculty to be aware of what the institute is doing in the entrepreneurial space, so that if any of you are constantly in touch, not only with your current students, you're also in touch with your alumni. So if there is an idea that they would like to promote, and they want a space from where they can operate, I think DBIT would be more than willing to do this. And I think it is also important that we get a few ideas, however small they may be. They could be ideas which are coming from students of the first year. They might be ideas which are coming as a part of our mini projects, because one of the manner in which we are structuring the mini project is to ensure that by the time we are in the 7th semester, we have a minimum viable product. So students are also now being formally trained into thinking in terms of product development. And product development makes a lot of sense if it is able to go out into the market and make a difference to the lives of people. So apart from being only being entrepreneurs, I think the entire idea is also about fostering a spirit of entrepreneurship. So fostering of spirit of entrepreneurship means you may end up becoming an entrepreneur, but it is also about getting students and faculty to constantly think in terms of identifying problems, becoming very innovative in their approach. It could be, see, because once innovation becomes a way of life, then you would like to bring in innovation in whatever you do, and that enriches your life, not only as a teacher, but even otherwise. So fostering the entrepreneurial spirit in the students is also extremely important for all of us. And let me also tell you that as students become more entrepreneurial, and as we ourselves become a little more entrepreneurial, there are going to be issues in terms of compliances and so on and so forth. Because as Dr. Pradeep has very rightly said, and what I have always believed is that the moment you have a certification agency or an accrediting agency where you are expected to comply, you know, the compliance goes against the grain of entrepreneurship and innovation. So yes, there are going to be these issues, but I think finally at the end of the day, we need to choose between what is it that will have a greater impact to our lives and the lives of our students and the lives of the communities that are around us, rather than getting some certification and some kind of accreditation. You know, so so there are going to be disruptions on the campus because we are trying to promote entrepreneurship, but I think that is going to be most welcome. That is going to be most welcome. Yeah. So yes, Dr. Pradeep, you want to end or?
Yeah, actually, I'm done with this, my presentation.
Okay.
Any questions still, or any other point of view? If anybody wants to share something instead of asking a question.
So, so our entrepreneurial journey cannot begin and end with just a presentation and an FTP. We need to take it forward, and how to take it forward, how to get people to buy in is something that we will all be putting our heads together and working on. So if we are done with this session, I would again like to thank Dr. Pradeep on behalf of all the faculty. And I would now hand this over to